Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of 20 Somethings. I'm Jenna, and today I'm joined here with the crew, Natalie, Nate, and Chris. We have some pretty different topics today. They don't really mesh with each other, but we're going to make it work. To start out with something fun and exciting, who likes space?
I think space is dope.
There's something pretty interesting happening with space that I know Lee sent us an article that is really dope.
So basically, SpaceX, they announced it back in February, but they're doing like a first civilian space mission. It's just kind of like there's gonna be 4 people and they're gonna like orbit the Earth in a rocket, which I think is super cool. And there's just like a bunch of different people with a bunch of different professions. But I think the coolest one is like she's a teacher and she's a physician's assistant, and she's a childhood cancer survivor. So I think that's pretty cool too. But I wanted to ask y'all because I'm not a STEM girly. I'm a film major. Like I don't know a lot about space, and space, but I love Star Wars. If given the opportunity, would y'all do something like this? Would you go into space, like as a civilian, like go to the train? Yeah, Nate, take it away.
Hell no, I would not go to space because it's scary. It's like there's no sound, there's no gravity. You're just floating around out there. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen the film Gravity, but it was just like anything that could go wrong in space would go wrong. And with my luck, that would just happen. It would just be the scariest thing ever. So I would say no to go into space. I'm fine here on Earth.
I don't know if I would. I feel like it would have to be like a very specific situation. Like I wouldn't want to be on like a space mission where I'm there for like a year. Like I got things to do down here. Like, but I think it would be cool, like to eat astronaut ice cream and like astronaut food and like be an astronaut and like walk on the moon. Wait, are they getting to get out of the spaceship or are they staying in the spaceship? No.
They're staying in orbit.
Oh.
They're staying in orbit. I don't think they're getting out or anything.
I mean, that's still cool, but like I would only want to be up there for like a weekend. And then I'm over it.
That's one really expensive trip. I would totally go, no matter the circumstances or how long the trip was. I'm a weirdo, and I guess I kind of have a death wish, but that just seems so cool. And I know, Lee, you were like, I'm not a STEM girl. But I don't know.
I don't know why, but I think it'd be sick.
So awesome.
I think I'm like kind of split because I really think space is awesome and cool. But it's also in every movie I see, like Nate said,
every single one,
something goes wrong and people die. So like I think that if it was like a human man space mission, I'd be like, nah, I'm good. But if like some galactic federation shows up to Earth and it's like, yo, we're gonna show you like the whole galaxy and stuff, and we're in the Galactic Federation now. Me and the boys are hopping in a spaceship and going and adventuring.
Yeah. What if they like, I don't know, brainwash you and they make you part of them and you turn evil? Like you're an evil alien Martian now. And like you're on the bad side of the space mission. Would you still do it?
I feel like at that point I want to have a choice.
Yeah, you're right.
Imagine
do you think like now that we have this step going that like normal people can go to space, do you think that the future is going to look like WALL-E, where like people go take a vacation in space and then the Earth just gets abandoned and everyone gets fat?
Because then it's going to be like fat blobs rolling around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I hope it doesn't get to the point where like the Earth is not habitable anymore for humans and we have to go to space. But I think it'd be really cool if we all got the chance to go safely.
Yeah. It's probably a very expensive trip.
Yeah.
The guy who's piloting the whole thing, he said that hopefully like this is like the first step, and like I don't know, he said like a really cool thing about how one day he hopes that like fishing buddies can go up to space together, and like I don't know, I feel like having 4 different people from like 4 different like backgrounds and occupations and stuff is like a big step. I don't know, I think it's cool.
Yeah.
That'd be cool if like when we're like 50, you could just like go fishing in space.
What are
Like,
you
let's go
fishing
get some
for?
space.
Yeah, what are you
space
fishing
fish.
for in space?
Moon
I don't
rocks.
know, big space fish, like I don't know, monsters or something. I'm sure there's stuff out there. I've seen Star Wars.
I
Yeah.
think humans have-
I've also seen
Monsters
aliens.
and like
I don't know if we
asteroids
want
and
to bring
stuff.
any of that back.
yeah.
Have you ever seen the episode of iCarly where they're supposed to like go to a webcast in space? Do you think, well, obviously they have to, but the simulator that they went through and they like all went crazy, do you think you would go crazy trapped in that tight of a space with like one person for that long?
Definitely.
Maybe.
It depends on the person. It definitely depends on the person.
Yeah. Jenna, it's so funny you brought up iCarly because I was just watching that before this class. I'm not gonna lie. I have an addiction to watching old school TV shows. Well, I guess it's kind of old school for us, but I never thought about that aspect of it, being trapped with just a certain amount of people, whether you like them or not.
Mm-hmm.
One
I
thing,
got caught up in the whole walking on the moon fantasy.
yeah, one thing that I think is really cool about space and I would love to experience myself is like seeing what it's like just like with no gravity. I feel like that would be so cool, just being able to like float around and stuff like they do in the spaceship.
We all were just in quarantine and I thought that was intense. I could not imagine. I mean, it depends on the people. I guess I could, but like you're not even able to go
it depends on the person.
Yeah. This is like the last thing I'm going to say about this, but I think I saw that there is like a teacher going to space. That'd be so cool if you're like in elementary school and your teacher is going to space and she can like teach you from space. That would be the coolest thing ever.
You know who else is going to space?
Who?
Tom Cruise. He's going to do a scene in a movie, like actually in space. And Elon Musk is also doing that too.
That's
That doesn't
cool.
surprise me.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that quarantine topic can bring us into this. During quarantine last year, there was a very, very sad and depressing and devastating occurrence, which was the murder of George Floyd. But the cop who murdered him is currently on trial, and there are some things. It's kind of moving slow, but some things are happening with that, thankfully.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
Natalie, I know you have some information on that.
yeah, so the police officer, Derek Chauvin, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he is on trial. And I know his defense has made claims that he was following his training and stuff. Although I've not been trained by the police. I've gone through none of that. I am pretty sure their training doesn't include murder. So that's frightening, even though I know the defense kind of has to do their job and fight for their clients. But that just sounds like the weakest argument. You know, even if he was guilty of using, I don't know, a fake dollar bill, even if he was on drugs, you know, the drugs in his systems were probably not what murdered George Floyd. It was the knee on his neck for over 9 minutes, which we don't really need to relive. And I know someone in our group here had some interesting information on the testimonies given during the trial.
Yeah, so I saw a video, it was on Twitter, I believe, of Donald Williams, who is a MMA fighter who was actually like a firsthand witness of the murder. And he, like as being an MMA fighter, he has a lot of experience with just like chokeholds and, you know, things like that. So he said that when he saw what was going on, he called the cops on the cops because like he said he knew he was witnessing murder. And there was also a testimony from a woman who works as an EMT that was also a bystander, and she was like saying how she was trying to ask the cops to like let her like check and see if he's okay once George Floyd started to like go unconscious and stuff, and they just wouldn't let her near him.
There's like a whole bunch of like other testimonies given by like people that they call in to like give a testimony. One of them that I thought was interesting was the LAPD Sergeant Jody Stinger, who's like a use of force expert. And they said their professional opinion is, I'm gonna quote them so I don't get it wrong. But they said, my opinion was that the force was excessive. He told the court. Stinger reviewed materials from the incident after Floyd's death and has conducted approximately 2,500 use of force reviews during his career. So I feel like he has had enough experience to where, like, I don't know, like, after witnessing 2,500 of those reviews and doing them themselves, like, I feel like they're probably the most qualified to answer that. So yeah, Stinger is also like the sergeant, so I feel like I trust his opinion as well. Or Stinger, sorry, I don't know how to pronounce his last name either, but I don't know, I feel like they have drawn this case out for like a long time, or like they've pushed it back for too long. I think this is something that should have been taken care of like as soon
immediately.
Yeah, because I feel like with so many other things, it's like, oh, we're gonna tackle this like right away, like, and I just feel like this is not something you should have pushed back for so long. I know like the justice system is very flawed, so I'm not really surprised at the fact that it's taken so long for this to like get to court. But I don't know, I feel like over the summer there was so many amazing like meaningful protests and demonstrations that like that many people saying like we want justice, like
justice should have been served a lot sooner.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can only hope that justice is properly served, because at the end of the day, even if like, I don't know, even if George Floyd actually committed a terrible crime, no one deserves to die like that. No one.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he did or like before. He was a human being and he died in a terrible way for no reason.
Yeah, like they say, even if you're guilty, the police aren't supposed to kill you. And Lee, like you said, with the protests and stuff, so many people demanding justice. Even if the chief of police and it was a, force expert or tactics expert, anyone can see that it was excessive force.
Yeah.
And that's why people were so furious, and his testimony just really brought it home. It was just completely unnecessary and devastating.
Yeah, definitely. In lighter news, there is some good going on in this world. America is still behind, but in New Zealand, they just passed I don't know if it was an act or something, an approval that women can have a paid leave after a miscarriage, which like everyone knows you get paid leave, maternity leave after you have a baby. And no one ever really considers like these people who go into the hospital and don't come home with a baby. And I just think it's really nice. Like, it's just, that's trauma and you need time to heal from that.
Yeah, exactly, Jenna. It is trauma. And I think a lot of people who haven't experienced that yet, it's hard to realize not only the emotional sort of rehabilitation you need, but the physical. You don't know, why someone miscarried or how it's affecting them physically and emotionally. And I think that leave is really important. And I don't know, that's something I've never thought about before. And
yeah, definitely. Like, that never even crossed my mind before I saw the article, but it's just something that's really awesome. And it's like, if a country as prominent as New Zealand is enacting this, then hopefully it'll make its way to the rest of the world.
Yeah, I'm surprised that wasn't a thing before, because I would assume that you could always do that. But as long as change is happening, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was also surprised that it wasn't already a thing, and like now after hearing that New Zealand has done it, I feel that it should be just kind of like a commonplace thing, because no parent should have to lose their child one day and get dressed and go to work the next morning.
It's normal. Yeah.
I mean, like, especially for whoever's carrying the baby, like, you carry a child for 9 months, and that's obviously like a lot of emotional and physical like stress you're putting on yourself. Also very exciting if that's what you want to do. But I don't know, there's nothing that can really like make up for the loss of a child if you're like looking forward to like raising this little human. And I just feel like mental health, especially now, is so important, like just like physical health. And so I feel like, I don't know, giving parents that time to like grieve a loss is also like beneficial for like their work in the long run, because if you go right back to work after that, like again, like you're traumatized, performing of your ability. And also I just feel like it's a very human thing that New Zealand did. So I hope that you follow suit.
And the work's gonna suffer too. They go right back because they're not going to be focused.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I think even if, you know, you're trying to have a child, and so I know people who have, you know, stories of people trying for years and years and years, and either they can't afford IVF or anything like that. Even if you miscarry and it's in the early stages of your pregnancy, that can still be just as devastating,
Right.
you know,
Right.
and that recovery time is really important. Lee, like you said, even if we're not considering the physical factors, the mental health portion is huge, and it needs to be addressed. And I think it's really great.
Yeah, it's definitely a big step in the right direction. Like I said earlier, hopefully America follows suit soon and our healthcare system starts to see some reform, as well as, you know, all that stuff. But that was our last topic for today. Anyone have any closing remarks or anything?
I know that we only have, for college students, we only have a few weeks left in the semester. So grind it out, get it in there. For our viewers, thank you for tuning in with us. We'll have a few more episodes. Stay tuned, and
Yep,
thank
good
you.
stuff.
Yeah.
Have a great night, everybody. Thank you for joining us.